What's up guys and welcome to my first ever video guiding commentary. In this episode I'll be showing you how to dominate with Malzahar in the jungle. This is something that I like to call the ancient secret. Not because it's been passed down from generation to generation, but because a lot of people don't know about the power of Malzahar jungle. And because Saint told me to try it out one day and he's pretty ancient himself. Step 1 of knowing how to dominate is setting yourself up for success. For runes, I take 80 marks because of the insane 1-to-1 scaling of attack damage on your voidling. Armor seals will allow you to tank for your voidling in the early game. CDR per level glyphs because they will help you spam spells come late game. And AP quints because I actually want my spells to deal damage, and due to the fact that I'll be building AP during the game. For masteries, I take 18 points in ferocity and 12 points in cunning with Deathfire's touch as my keystone. The reasoning behind taking Deathfire's touch over Thunderlord's decree is that Deathfire's touch will do more damage in a total combo of spells. Itemization is one of the most difficult concepts when playing Malzahar in the jungle, so I'm going to try to help simplify which items you should buy at different points in the game. Your starting items for Malzahar jungle will always be Hunter's Talisman and Refillable Potion. On your first back, you can buy any of these 5 items, but I normally prefer Hunter's Potion and Amp Tome if I don't have money for anything else. The standard core build for Malzahar consists of CDR boots, runic echoes, Rylai's, and Liandry's. You don't always have to build all 4 of these items and can mix and match with other items that I will show you in this set, but you can almost never go wrong when buying this core build. The 2 armor items that can benefit you the most when fighting against 80 heavy teams are Zanya's Hourglass and Zizirao Portal. When playing against magic damage heavy teams, choose from either Abyssal Scepter and Banner of Command. And if your game somehow ever goes the distance and you're clueless on what a 6-item Malzahar build looks like, reference this full Malzahar build. Alright guys, so we're into the game here. I'm going to be focusing on myself and giving to you the best commentary I can. This right here was the best early game I had, I think, in terms of efficiency and being able to gank as well as farm in the jungle as fast as possible. So hopefully I can take you through this and you guys will have a better idea of what Malzahar jungle brings and why it's such a fun pick. So to start things off, you start with your W. Why do you start with your W? It does percent damage to all the camps, so it's just really efficient for clearing your Grom, clearing your blue, and normally you want to start on your Grom to blue side if you can as Malzahar. You don't have to, you can start on red, but blue is just better for Malzahar. It gives him AP, gives him CDR, and it gives him the mana that he needs to clear as efficiently as possible. And it also allows him to do a straight full clear where you clear from Gromp all the way down to Golems, which is one of the fastest clips in the game in terms of jungle clear, and you'll see it in this clip how fast it actually is. So W to start, you want to stack it 3 times, get your Voidling ready. Your Voidling will be your main source of damage on the camps. You need to protect your Voidling. Your Voidling is everything to you. Your Voidling is the king. You are your Voidling's bitch because it does more damage than you. It has faster attack speed once it scales, and it has more health and more tankiness as time goes on. So when it's a baby, you have to protect it. Starting out here, 140, gonna start the Gromp, pinging it furiously, telling my Olaf to get his ass here and get ready to start clearing the jungle all the way through. So yeah, as you see, when the Voidling spawns, it's going to be a baby. It's going to have very little stats, so I'm going to smite this. I'm going to tank it myself, make sure my Voidling takes only about 1 auto from it, and then move on towards my blue. So yep, moving on towards my blue. And as you see, I'm still tanking for it until the point where it transforms, and I know it will die soon. The Voidling transforms every 7 seconds. It upgrades. The first upgrade, it gives it a little bit more bonus damage and it becomes a little bit more tanky. And then the second upgrade gives it an insane amount of attack speed. It actually has 1.5 attacks per second, and it's actually stronger than you are. So when it's a baby, you have to tank more for it, and then as it grows up, it's more self-sufficient. On the wolves, this is the only camp where this doesn't apply to, because on the wolves, there's so much time that you take walking from your wolves to your wraiths that you can kind of just let it tank more because it's not going to make it all the way to your wraiths. So we start up the wraiths. As you see here, put your E on the small ones first and try to line it up so that you kill the small ones and it bounces through every single small one onto the big one. And the reasoning for this is because it gives you a small mana refund, and it's also just the way that you take the least amount of damage from the camp, excuse me. On to red. My Voidling's about to die, so I let it tank out. And here I keep on clearing, pop my E on it, get a little bit of mana back, and go towards my golems. So yeah, as you can see here, I've only used one pot of my refillable potion, and I'm almost all the way through the jungle. I'm level 4 right now, still super strong, and yeah, right here, 321, just finished full clearing the jungle with a very minimal leash from Olaf, and I've already got an experience and level lead over the enemy jungler. And this is one of the main powers of Malzahar, and this is something you need to abuse if you're playing this champion. You can clear extremely fast, and after your full clear, you still have the potential to gank. Because you're so healthy, because you don't have to use any of your refillable potions, maybe just one on the gromp, and that's about it. So yeah, coming in here, I'm looking for a gank. I see that the enemy bot lane is pushed up, and normally before 6 on Malzahar, you only really want to take 2v2s if you know you can get your damage off, or ganks if you know the enemies are pushed up. So here they're pushed up, and I start pinging. I ask my Alistar, do you see that I have WQ, and I start looping around. At this point, I know it's not warded, so I'm going to play it at halftime speed, and you can see kind of how I play out the gank. This wasn't optimal, but we end up succeeding, so I'll just show you how it succeeds. This was not a good channel or a good CC chain of our abilities here. Obviously, you want to line the silence up over the CC. So if Alistar comes in, hits them with a WQ, Malzahar should come in and instantly silence both of them so they aren't able to throw out things like this, throw out hooks, and then you just drop all your damage on the closest target. At this point, your pool doesn't really matter. You don't really need to worry about hitting it specifically on an area. You just cast it pretty much to get a voidling out. So yeah, I get hooked here, which isn't great. I was trying to go for the silence on Thresh, but it doesn't really matter because of the amount of damage the Malzahar brings. And as you see, I flash short, I keep on him with the red buff, and even though I get exhausted, my voidling is still kicking ass here. So I keep him slowed, and as you right click the enemy champion, the voidling will chase, and the voidling will actually do more damage than you will. So as long as you're just in the right vicinity, you're keeping your voidling aggroed on the enemy, you'll be able to get kills like this. And here, he ends up dying to my Malzahar E, my Malefic Visions, but if I needed it, I could have got one more auto with the voidling by just chasing up and microing like that. So yeah, I'm gonna play it a little bit faster, get through the clearing of the waves, push up the lane after you kill people, just standard play, and I am going to back. So yeah, I back here, and I'm versatility, so I'm kind of concerned about getting invaded. I pick up the Tracker's Knife, because I want just that vision, just in case I do get invaded. I showed myself on the map, so my clear is really obvious. I showed that I full cleared bottom. If he's smart and saw me level 4 at bot side, he knows the only way I could have done that is if I started top and full cleared. So I'm a little bit nervous walking into that top side jungle. Pantheon was pushed out of lane, so I'm not worried about the Pantheon being here, but if I do face check a brush with Diddley in it and I don't have flash, it could go bad for me. So I end up walking here, and one thing that you have to notice when you play Malzahar jungle is you need to micromanage your stacks of your Voidling. Your summon Voidling passive, it's really important that when you leave the base, you already are on 3 stacks so that your next cast procs the Voidling. And the Voidling is really hard to proc because of the amount of mana that it takes. As you see here, I didn't go Hunter's Potion, so I'm already struggling with mana, and this is one of the only flaws of Malzahar jungle, and it's goes away once you have your runic echoes, but early game you have to be really smart about how you use your mana, and you have to be really efficient and precise about what you want to do. So you don't want to get into a clear and then realize, oh, I should walk all the way bot lane, or oh, I should get Scuttle Crab right now. You have to be focused on how many camps you should do and hitting your level 6, because that's when you really power spike, and that's when you can 1v1 any jungler and affect lanes the most. So around here, I realized that if I just full clear, I will get my level 6, so I just burn all my mana on it. I'm not afraid to back, and I go and get my level 6, get mana, and get back onto the map with an item advantage. Let me just line up everything here for you guys so you guys can see exactly the advantage that I do have. So we got this. And here I realize that my Olaf is getting dove, so instead of stacking my Voidling and waiting for the mana, I run up here immediately because I don't know how long it's going to take them to dive. I actually could have waited because this was kind of just a desperation maneuver by me. I was like, oh shit, my top laner is getting dove. I need to be up there ASAP, or, you know, he's going to get fucked and I'm going to, you know, fail him as a jungler. So I don't end up getting here in time to save him, but I do get up here in time to take his entire wave. So pretty much just as good in my mind. I'm getting ahead. It's not bad. The wave crashed into turret, so even though it looks like I'm just pushing it, and obviously I missed a couple ECS there, but even though it looks like I'm just pushing it, it was pushing already, so I pretty much had to push the lane as fast as possible. This brings us to one of my next key points about Malzahar, which is going for very setup plays and going from plays from brushes. So Malzahar is a champion where if you fight him out in the open, he doesn't really do as much. It's hard for him to really gap close, get on carry, and CC them down. So you really want to go for plays that are set up. You want to go for plays that you can just plan out, sit in a place where you know that there is no vision, and just drop your full combo on somebody, which is what I'm going for here. I know Pantheon 6, I V-ping my mid lane, I V-ping my bot lane. I know that he's going to try to make a play bot, but in my mind, I want to force him to come back top and play in a lane versus Olaf where I just am sitting here with my ultimate in the lane. So as you see here, all these pings go down. My Lux gets caught. He does not heed my warnings, and he pretty much just gets shit on, which changes my plan a little bit, but I still know that he wants to catch this wave. So I go in here with my tracker's knife. I've already got a ward here, and since I don't see him coming immediately, I'm like, okay, maybe he's going the long way around. I need to clear out, keep this option open, so if he walks through here, I can still be in there. Luckily, he walks straight through the tri-bush, just completely oblivious to what I could potentially do to him, and I just CC him down, drop my ult, WE combo, and pretty much one-shot him there with a little bit of help from Olaf. So yeah, kill the top laner. I know there already has no ultimate, and I go to start clearing their red buff and just clearing his topside jungle. Originally I was just going to go for red buff, but then I saw no lead bot getting a couple kills, and I decided, you know what, screw it. I might as well just stay up here and take his whole topside jungle, or take as much of it as possible. The reason I didn't go for golems in this specific example, this isn't really Malzahar related, but it's more jungle related, is just because I saw him bot and I saw him pushing his turret, and I wanted to protect my bot side jungle. I didn't want to just both make mirrored plays where I get kills top, he gets kills bottom, and then he just takes my whole bot side jungle. I thought taking 2 camps of his top side jungle and still protecting my bot side jungle would be the most effective plan here. So that's just a little tip about trying to maximize your leads over enemies. If you feel like you can fight someone, don't trade evenly. Try to maximize your lead as much as possible. Here I see an all-in mid. Skip my race. I think I actually misplayed that, even though I have my runic echoes. As you see here, I probably could have just dropped a Q here and I would have killed him, but I was afraid I missed it. Maybe he sidesteps down. I didn't want to get into a long chase, so I just flashed over, used my E, and got a quick kill on him. Obviously, there are champions that play that situation better. That's not the greatest situation for Malzahar, but you don't really play Malzahar for the early game skirmishes. You don't really play him to get extremely hyphy kills and just big outplays. You play him because he's a consistent champion, and he will be able to siege better than any jungler in the game, take objectives better than any jungler in the game, and just provide more damage later than pretty much any jungler in the game. So those are the advantages to Malzahar. You have to play around them. He's got big advantages and big disadvantages. Here they have package. I'm trying to set up for another play like I was saying before, one where I can get into a bush and just ult somebody immediately, but this doesn't work. I see the ward come down, and instead of going for, you know, play under turret, just walk into the lane, get ready to put a Voidling out. On the next wave I'll summon my Voidling and just start taking the turret. And then he makes another play top, makes the mirrored play. Again, it's okay in my mind that we're doing this. We're getting turret a lot faster than them. If they stay and take this turret, we can potentially push a tier 2, we can get dragon, so we have our options here. Looking for the Corki here. Wasn't able to do it. This is a little bit greedy by me. Malzahar actually does dragon one of the best out of all the junglers because of his ability to Voidling tank it, and his Voidling actually takes a surprisingly small amount of damage. I don't know if it's a bug or the reason why it takes so little damage. Maybe someone could inform me in the comments after this video, but it literally takes about 8 dragon autos to kill a level 1 Voidling, which to me is just ridiculous. So really good at doing dragons. I should have just done dragon in that situation. This is just kind of a misplay. I got greedy to deny the Nidalee more farm, but in reality, be smarter than I am here. Take the objective, take the dragon, and uh, just get side objective control. So here I'm going to put it on 2 times speed. We get into the kind of siegey and stalling out portion of the game because we have Ezreal Lux and they take a while to scale, as well as I'm Malzahar, so I'm not going to force big plays. And in general, what my team in solo queue was talking about this game was just our mindset was that we outscale no matter what. So as long as we don't give them too big of a gold lead, we'll be able to just win the game in late game team fights and just be able to siege on them. So yep, gonna keep clearing here. You can watch some rapid Malzahar farming for you guys. Trying to make a play on Pantheon, doesn't fall for it. This guy wisened up after the first time I killed him in the bush. Start warding up their jungle and just preparing for his red buff. At this point, I had actually timed his red buff, and I decided to be here and just deny from him. I wanted to take as much of his jungle as possible. Another thing that I didn't really talk about that much for Malzahar is the Tracker's Knife and why it's so good on Malzahar compared to other champions. Normally in solo queue, if you play Elise with like Tracker's Knife or you play something like Rek'Sai with Tracker's Knife, you feel that you feel a loss. You feel like you could have got more out of your smite. But with Malzahar, Chilling Smite and Skirmishers are pretty much useless on this champion. It's so hard to get into range to use Chilling Smite, and once you are in that range, you can normally already drop your full combo and one-shot them anyway. So Tracker's Knife doesn't do much. You rarely auto on this champion, almost never auto, so Skirmishers is pretty useless too. And it makes Tracker such a good buy, and you don't lose anything for it. And the amount of wards you get and the amount of vision control that you get is extremely good with the whole theme of Malzahar, which is turret taking, objective taking, and just great sieging, and just straight up fights where you know where the enemies are. In fights where like people are flanking you, they're coming in from the side, Malzahar isn't as great, but I think I'm going to slow it down here because something's about to happen. But in fights that are head-to-head, 5-on-5, in front of a turret, Malzahar is the god jungler. He is one of the best junglers in the game. Also, I apologize for the kind of shaky camera control here. I've been going on quite a few tangents about how much I love Malzahar, man. I'm really just passionate about this champion, so maybe the camera control could be better. But yeah, I hope you guys are getting the picture with the playstyle of him and why he's so strong. And if you look at this point, I'm versus Nidalee in solo queue, and Nidalee is the god jungler of solo queue right now, along with maybe Graves and Udyr or something like that. But I've maintained a 50 CS lead just because of the fact that I was more efficient with my clear, and when I got ahead, I was able to take his jungle and exploit that. This situation here was a little shaky for me. Shouldn't have flash ulted. I probably could have just walked up and ulted. I thought that Pantheon would turn around the second he saw me come around the corner, but I was clearly wrong. He tried to one-shot the Ezreal in front of me, and he actually got closer than I expected, so I decided that I was going to just flash ult the second I got into range because I just wanted to get the pick, and I wanted to prevent people from flanking you. So yeah, as you can see here, we'll go into my build a little bit. I decided to go for a build that I haven't seen many Malzahar jungles go. Most people go Rod of Aegis on Malzahar. It's just the most efficient item if you let it scale. But in my mind, I like Rylai's because Rylai's gives you instant slow on all your abilities, and it's something that really enhances your kit. If you hit a Q on somebody, then you can actually walk up, get into range, and land the rest of your spells, which without the Rylai's, it's normally just a Q for damage. You get your Runic Echo's proc, you get your Q damage, and that's just your poke. But it really chains all your abilities into a CC combo that people are afraid of, and that's really why I think this item is so good from Malzahar. And it's normally purchased. I'm not going to say that it's something that I invented, but it's normally a secondary item to Rod of Aegis, which I myself don't actually like. I feel like it's a good enough item that you can just build it first, after your runic echoes, obviously, and be able to output enough damage and enough CC in fights to make it really worth. And you don't really need the Rod of Ages stats to scale up. So yeah, we're still stalling out. This is a game where we obviously outscale. We have Malzahar versus Nidalee. We have Ezreal versus uh, Corki Bot, so Ezreal is going to always scale well with blue build. We have Lux, which is probably one of the best scaling mid laners in the game right now, and we just are going for the late game in the siege. Slow this down, go back. In this situation, I think we could have actually followed up better on this. I don't think my team expected me to drop this much damage on him instantly, but I'm pretty sure if Alistar had cleansed this Pantheon stun and just went for the key flash, we would have got a pick there, which is what I was looking for. Picks over the wall are super strong on Malzahar, and something you want to keep in mind as we siege here is that when you play Malzahar, you don't want to be grouped on top of your team. If you're grouped on top of your team, you'll just die in the AoE cluster, which is the opposite of what Malzahar wants. You want to be in a position off to the side where if they engage on your team, you can silence for them and you can CC and drop your W and drop damage into the fight, or you want the enemy team to be going on you and have your team able to peel you because they will be wasting AoE abilities and they will be wasting a lot of focus on a one champion on the side. So you don't want to be necessarily flanking. Like, so for example, if you're fighting on this turret, you don't necessarily want to be like over here behind the turret where you're an easy pick, but you want to be more off to the side. You don't want to be clumped on top of your carries, because you are another carry. So if you play Malzahar, you're going to have an AP mid or an AP top in most scenarios, and you also have an AD carry, and you want to let them stand on like the outside of the turret, and you position where you can still silence the enemies, you can poke, but you still are isolated, and you're not just clumped up on top of them. And this varies game to game. This is something that you're going to have to just learn more about the game, about how you need to position versus different team comps. But in general, not clumping on top of your carries with Malzahar is extremely big. So this goes into the next item purchase that I make here. On Malzahar, you have options with Magic Resist. Your three main options with Magic Resist are Abyssal Scepter, which is more of the carry damage-oriented route. It's actually the route that I like the least of the three. The other two routes you have are Zizirot Portal, which synergizes really well with your whole Necromancer theme, your Malzahar Voidling spam, your creature creation, and it's also just a good source of armor and magic resist to complement all the HP you get from your allies. So Zizirot is another option, and then the last option is Banner of Command. Both of these items give you huge siege pressure. You have so many minions, so many ways to take the turret that it's actually extremely hard for the enemy team to kill you off. Here we're about to jump into the team fight. You can see how it plays out. Pantheon jumps in and I see he's isolated, and instantly I ult him. I don't want to let him get any damage onto me. I'm just going to ult the assassin instantly and just let him pretty much suicide into the team fight. So generally speaking, when you're playing against assassins, before they have their QSS on Malzahar, instantly ult them if they ever try to collapse into the team fight. If you're not versus assassins and you're versus tanks, and this is actually super unfortunate. I just want to show you guys this because this upset me greatly in the game. So yeah, I come in here, and I had no clue how this Ahri didn't die because I actually didn't see in the game, but I felt like I was going off here. I flash E, I had my Luden's proc, and he gets flash healed by Nidalee over the wall and ends up living with a sliver of HP. That made me super sad. But yeah, back to the point that I was on. If you're playing against assassins, grip the assassin if he jumps into the team fight. If you're playing versus standard tank comps and you're not in range of enemy CC, dropping your W down, which is percent damage, and gripping a tank is extremely efficient. So, yeah, keep that in mind, guys. Gripping tanks, gripping assassins. So yeah, this game I decided to go for Zizirot Portal. I've kind of been obsessed with Zizirot Portal lately. I think it's actually a pretty good item. I've been talking to some people about it, mainly Trick, and I have been really hyping it up to each other, and we've been doing it on multitude of champions. Mainly, we both just do it a lot on Udyr. He kind of came up with it, and I tried it, and I became a big supporter of it. But I've actually realized that on Malzahar it's also super efficient. It's really hard for enemy teams to deal with the siege of Malzahar and its ZZ Route portal pushing an opposite lane. So if you're top lane, you're 5v5 siege, you get in front of the turret, and you force the whole enemy team to come to respect your push because Malzahar pushes so fast, and you have your ZZ Route going bottom, you'll end up just splitting the enemy team. You'll end up splitting the map in a way where you're 5 versus 4 at a top turret, and they have to have an enemy champion dealing with your ZZ Route. So that is something that you have the option of, and something a playstyle that I really like with Malzahar because it plays into his whole sieging aspect. So yep. At this point, we've got the lead. We decide to just play for turrets. We get vision on Baron first. You see I come over here, I drop my 2 wards, make sure that they can't do Baron, and then we have Olaf pushing the side lane. He kind of goes too hard, he's like chasing down a Pantheon, but we get vision on Baron, push up mid all the way so that they don't have any way to like easily get to Baron. If they go to Baron, we'll have advanced notice, we can get over here and counter it, and we just get into a 5v5 here. This is actually a panic hole for me. Look at this. I drop my QWE, but I ult before I cast my E. I actually fat finger my ult, and I end up getting no damage off, and I take a bunch of punishment in return. I was trying to do what I told you about gripping the assassin, but it was just a mechanical misplay for me. Please don't hold it against me, man. This was one of my earlier Malzahar games. This is as soon as I started to get it. Olaf's going hard. I think we actually end up getting turret here because we did kill Corki as well. Yep, Moore gets binded, I try to follow up on it, doesn't exactly work, and we just go for the turret. As you see here, I'm spamming spells just to get my Voidling out, and I have a blue buff so I don't have to worry about mana. And I'm just trying to make sure that I have Voidling out to do damage if we do get into a fight. Get another kill. Not sure if Alistar dies for it. Somebody dies for it. I think, yeah, Lux dies for it. Either way, we got what we came for. We got the turret, and we're just playing the rotation and objective game here, which is kind of different for solo queue, but with Malzahar it's actually really easy because you push lanes so well, and what you do is so obvious to your team. I don't think we're able to kill him here. This is kind of close. Yeah, we go for a last pick. Like, we're on our way out, and Pantheon walks into us. At this point, my cooldown on my ultimate's pretty short, 68 seconds. So you have more liberty to just go for picks if you think the opportunity is free. That's what I end up going for here. Yeah, we're back, and we're looking to just close this game out just the efficient way. We've got good deep wards. We can go over to Baron, and with Alistar, you have the opportunity to just headbutt the enemy jungler out and secure Baron. And with Malzahar, you tank Baron extremely well with your Voidling, so, you know, why not get vision control around Baron, push up your lanes because you have so much pressure at this point in the game, and just go for the Baron. And yeah, in a team fight right now, if you compare myself to Nidalee, this is a massive advantage. I will do so much more in a team fight in terms of CC for my allies, in terms of AoE silencing from my Q, and just the amount of damage I can output compared to the Nidalee, that I will just outperform him tenfold in the team fight. And that's kind of what we're looking for to do here. And you can see, this is not even with an E. That was just a QW and one Ezreal Q, and this Thresh is almost dead. And I'm not even building full damage. This is with a ZZ Route portal. And this game I actually try to spice it up a little bit. I go for the Banner Command and ZZ Route because I feel like we're so far ahead. All we have to do is get Baron. As soon as we get Baron, we go to a lane. I drop my ZZ Route portal and my Banner Command in the same lane, and then at that point they are just forced to make engage on us into a team that's hard to engage on. So it was a little bit of a spicy build, but I like it here. So we end up securing Baron. Alistar does a good job of zoning the enemy jungler. We get a free pick on Ari, and at this point I feel like the opportunity to just flash in and just follow my boy up, because this guy made such a big play. He jumped over the wall, made sure that it was 100% smite, so I just went as hard as possible with him, and I just tried to follow him up. Like, he makes a big play like that, I should follow him up, and I should, you know, he scratched my back, I should scratch his. No homo though. So yeah, dude, free inhib. Once you get Baron on this champion, the game's so hard for the enemy. You poke so well. You siege so well, especially with like my portal coming through. Before I went mid, before we went to Baron, I actually put this ZZ Rot mid to just make sure that the lane was shoved up the entire time. And yeah, I haven't even backed. I'm sitting on low mana, but we're just so far ahead at this point, and we have Baron. We just decided to just take over the game. Go for 2 inhibs. Get the silence, which actually slows, and we can see how slow this guy is from just 1 Q. He's forced to flash, throw another silence down, AoE CC, and look at how tanky I am. I just face tanked their whole team because I just went ZZ Rot and the path into Banner Command with Relies. So this was a little bit of styling on them. I just kind of wanted to see how tanky I would be at this point, but in reality, like, you don't have to do that. You should be playing more like a caster. You should be in the back of your team, but yeah. I mean, you're winning solo queue. Part of winning solo queue is just styling on them towards the end of the game. So, you know, sometimes you throw the game from it, but in the end, it's worth, because, you know, if you win a solo queue game, you get to, like, get your ego up, showboat a little bit, do some hypey stuff. We don't even get the inhib up here, actually, because we just dove all the way past towards their Nexus. But, you know, we get a Nexus turn, and at this point, the game's over. I pick up my Banner Command and ZZ Rot. I was actually really excited at this point. My teammates were like, holy shit, we're going to get to do it. We're going to get to put down a ZZ Rot and a Banner and a Malzahar Voidling and just start taking down turrets. But unfortunately, the enemy team sees this coming. They don't want me to have my fun with my 4-item, 5-item Malzahar build, and they call it. They end up forfeiting, see the forfeit vote come out, and I just drop my ZZ Rod on top of myself because I'm salty. I didn't get to use my full build. I didn't even get to use my banner, so a little bit unfortunate there, but in the end, I thought it was a really solid Malzahar game, and I think it was a good performance of the different facets that Malzahar has and how he can be useful when you do just farm and you look for intelligent plays. So I wanted to show you guys this game, not because it was the game I went the hardest off on Malzahar. I have games where I just run around and kill everyone because it's solo queue, and this was I think this was like maybe like around Diamond 2, Diamond 1 on the way to Challenger, so this wasn't super high elo, but I wanted to show you this game because I thought it really exemplifies Malzahar's power, and it shows you how annoying Malzahar is to deal with as the enemy team. Thanks for watching, guys. That concludes my first ever video guiding commentary. Now go out there and destroy some people with Malzahar Jungle. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, drop a comment down below on what champion you want me to show you how to dominate with. See you next time.